All right, good morning, everyone. So the Parsha this week is Yitro, and it's best known for the giving and receiving of the Ten Commandments. That's the central part of what's in this Parsha. But the Parsha begins with Moses' father-in-law, Yitro, who is a priest of Midian, coming and, kind of checking out how things are going for Moses. And he notices that Moses is really overworked and overwhelmed, and that the way he's doing leadership is that he's taking all the burden on himself. That as the leader, as the intermediary between God and the people, he's taking on just like a disproportionate amount of the work, and he's getting burnt out and he's not so happy. So in the yoga practice, well, let me go back up for a second. The advice Yitro gives Moses is, hey, it's too much for you. You need help. You need support. Leadership does not mean doing it all yourself. Leadership means delegating and training others and creating a support system and, like diversifying who's doing what so that you can all as a team co-lead and execute what needs to be done. So, and that's good advice, right? Delegating. And I teach teenagers and I have a teen leadership cohort. And it's a lot of the work I do with them is like, okay, so who wants to step into the leadership role, but what does it mean to be the leader? Does it mean now, yeah, there's a different level of accountability, responsibility, but there's also how do I involve others to help us as a group be more effective and achieve what we're trying to achieve? So here's what I wanted to say about the yoga practice. Yoga is pretty much an individual pursuit in the sense that it's you who's taking full accountability for your body in the practice. You're doing what you're able, you're pushing to your limit or just beyond, you're stretching and growing yourself, you're building your strength, you're deciding what feels right or wrong today, given what your body's capable of or any injuries, right? So it's very individual. It's your pursuit, it's your attainment, it's your experience. It's also a group and communal practice. There's a reason we come together and do this as a group, as opposed to just saying, okay, I'm going to do my yoga practice on my own mat today. We come together in a group because there's inspiration that happens there. There's a feeling of like, it doesn't have to be only me trying to source that innovation and creativity and what I do on my mat. There's like guidance and there's other people showing up to hold the space. So there's that. The other thing in yoga that can help us feel better and not take on the full burden ourselves is the intelligent use of props. So that's what I really wanted to focus on in the physical practice today is using props, because props are our aids, our assistants. It's like, okay, I can't do this pose all myself. It's too hard to hold this. It's too hard to balance, or I don't have the flexibility yet or the strength yet. And the props are support systems so that we're not doing it all ourselves, trying to grasp the floor or whatever it is. Like we could bring the floor up to us. We can use a block to give us more strength. We can use a strap to help us reach something we can't reach on our own, right? So that's what we're going to play with in the practice. How do we, as a metaphor for life itself, it's great to be self-reliant and independent and autonomous. But how and when do we know that we need something outside of ourselves to give us support? And learning that it's okay to use that support. Doesn't mean you're weak or bad or not as advanced, or there's no judgment. It's actually the advanced practitioner in yoga is the one who knows how and when to use the support systems that are there, right? Not the one who never ever uses a block or strap. So we want to become more skillful at knowing when we need help, knowing how to ask for help, who to ask help from, like that. All right, so let's start in our little bit of meditation. And to start in our meditation, I'll give you some suggestions for how to use some props. So one thing is, and I know you can see how my screen was positioned, I've been sitting up on a cushion the whole time just now. That's a way of bringing up the floor. So 2 ways you could sit on a cushion or a block. I'll show you the block. One is just you elevate your hips so that now your hips are higher than your knees and your knees can relax towards the ground. Right? That's way better than if you're sitting. I mean, I happen to be super flexible, so my knees touch the ground anyway. But most people sitting on the floor, they're going to be here, and now there's some strain. So to have strain and want to meditate and get grounded is very difficult when your body's challenged. So a couple options here. Here, if you're sitting and you're up here, you take the blocks and you just wedge them underneath the knees and the hips. And that's one way of bringing the floor up to the knees. Another way is sitting up on the bolster so that you're bringing the knees closer to the floor. And if you don't have a bolster, you can sit on a block, right? Same, it does the same thing, it just elevates you a little. Okay. I'll also give you a different offering. If this opens inner thighs, right? But it tends to contract the outer hips when you're sitting in a Baddha Konasana. Another way you can sit is you can have your blocks or a tower of blocks, and you can sit your hips up this way. And now you're opening a little bit in the front of the thighs, right? And you can sit up straight there. All right, so choose however you want to sit. I would say if you have if you need a minute to get your props, go do that. If you're in a hotel room in Jerusalem right now, maybe you don't. Yeah. You do what you can. All right. But choose whatever variation you want for sitting. And then you can close your eyes. And for this morning's practice, I would say place your palms face down on your thighs or in your lap. So when we have our palms face up, there's this essence of being very open and receptive. But when you place your palms down, there's more of a grounding feeling to that. This feeling of solidity. I'm connected. So as you breathe this morning into your body, just allowing yourself to feel very supported, very grounded. If you can drop your shoulders a couple of millimeters down away from your ears, just relax, try to relax the tension there. And then for a moment, think of all of the ways that you're very, very competent and skillful at being an adult, at being someone who can manage your own stuff. And it's great to notice that you're capable of doing it all yourself. But when you think about all of your responsibilities, what responsibility or chore or something that you have going on, do you feel like, wow, I wish I had help with this? It would really be nice to offload some of this burden. And then think about who in your life you might be able to ask to give you some assistance, some break, some support around that. And notice your own inner reaction to this thought of asking someone else for help. Does that feel easy for you? Does that feel like, I really don't want to have to ask? Just notice what arises within you. And you can bring your hands over your heart. And let's set an intention today that this practice, using props, using assistance and extra support, really helps us to feel very nurtured, that it gives us what we need. And as you're ready, you can bring yourself back. Since we have the block, if you guys have a block, let's just start with a little bit of, let's do a little bit of core, but using the block as a guide, okay? So we're gonna take the block in between the thighs, yeah? And what that's gonna do is it's gonna really create this sensation of having to squeeze towards the midline. That naturally engages the core strength. Okay, from here, you're going to take your hands behind you, fingertips can point forward, and you're just going to lift up. Yeah, I'll show you from a side angle as well. So I'm just lifting here. What I'm not doing is collapsing into my chest. I'm lifting myself, belly's lifting, everything's lifting. I'm squeezing the block. Good. From here, you're going to extend and draw back in. And just do that a few times. Yeah. If you're feeling, you can adjust where the block is, see what feels that you have good support, but you want this feeling of squeezing and holding that block, or just waking up. Oh, you hear my voice shaking? Waking up the core. Now, if you want to do a more advanced version of this, although it's early in the morning, you can keep your hands over your chest or out in front of you instead of holding the hands to the floor. That's gonna require more strength. Okay, good. You're gonna come lie down on your back. Again, still with the block between the thighs. And let's just do some bridges. So you're squeezing the block, your feet are, close in under your knees towards your hips. And you're gonna press up into the feet, squeeze the block. That gives you good alignment. So you're working the inner thigh muscles. The tailbone lengthens towards the block, so you're not bowing or dropping into the low back. You're reaching everything forward and up. Good. And here you could just take some little pulses. So you drop the hips an inch or two and then press them back up. So we're working the glutes. We're also stretching through the front of the quads and the hip flexors. And your arms could be down by the sides, or you can create little support there. Good. And go until you feel some burning. That's good. Just waking up and getting strong. So the block can help us with our strength, right? Just having that guide there can help us with our alignment to help us balance out the muscles and how we're using them. Good. And you're going to slowly roll down, slow, 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 one vertebra at a time. Try to let your low back be the very last thing, the sacrum, the tailbone at the very end. Good. You can hug your knees into your chest. Good. Let's do one more twisting core with the block. Okay, so your arms are going to be out by your sides, lower than your shoulders though. Don't have your arms up above your shoulders where you're crunching your neck. Okay. Your knees want to come forward over your hips. Okay, and you can put the block kind of right between the knees now. Yeah. So you're squeezing, and just stay here for a second and feel what that does to the core. So squeeze the block really, really strongly and feel how your belly gets immediately engaged. Do you feel how like everything contracts in here?
So you have a lot of strength. Good. From here, you're just gonna dip the toes to the floor and lift back up. Let's just do a few of those, and then we'll do some twists with the block as well. So you're just really keeping that core control. Good, good, good. Good. And then a little bit of a twist. So you're going to let the knees drop towards the left elbow, but not touch down on the floor. They're coming to a place where you have to resist with your oblique abs on the right side. Good. And then squeeze it through the center and drop towards the right. So you're getting a nice stretch through the side waist, but you're really working the strength of the belly, the oblique. So squeeze, exhale as you come up. You can inhale as you drop down. Exhale up. Yep, great. Good. Do a few more of those. You're trying to keep the shoulders down on the ground if you can. Now, one of the benefits of the block here between the knees is it prevents you from torquing in the lumbar spine. It actually keeps you in a good alignment so you're not straining your low back. You actually really have to concentrate on the abdominals here. Because otherwise, without the block, one knee might shift forward of the others. Now you're using your back muscles, and you can do harm to yourself. So the block can actually be a protection. All right. You can now let go of the block, hug your knees into your chest. You could take some circles or rock side to side. If you like those, you can add those to your core strengthening repertoire. Good. All right, let's come on to hands and knees and just take a few cat-cow stretches, and then you'll make your way into your down dog. So whatever feels good here for you, you're just stretching through the spine. Good, and when you're ready, you can tuck the toes and lift the knees up off the ground so that you're in your first down dog. Good. And again, in your down dog, you can just play with doing a little heel toe. You can come up on your tiptoes and press back. You can do a deep knee bend to really tilt your tailbone up to the sky and then straighten it out through the heels again. Good. And then from here, you're going to walk your hands back towards your feet. Good. Then you're going to walk your hands forward again, all the way past the down dog towards a plank. So you get yourself out nice and flat in the body. Hands are under the shoulders, and then we're going to walk ourselves back again. Just a little bit in and out. See if you can do that one or two more times. Nice and slow. We're just working a little core. Good. All right, the next time that you get your hands towards your feet, you can stay in that forward fold. Just give yourself a little shake out of the shoulders, out of the head and neck. And slowly rolling up to stand. All right. If you have blocks, keep them nearby. Okay. If you also have a strap, keep that nearby. All right. Because we're gonna play with using both of those. Yeah. So the blocks, I'm gonna put like one to each side of my mat, so I have them if we decide to come into a lunge or triangles or anything like that. Okay.
I like how creative you're being with variation. Inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. As you exhale, you're going to fold out over your legs. Inhale, halfway up, just lengthening through the spine. Exhale, fold all the way back down. Crown of the head reaches towards the ground. Good. Inhale, rise all the way up. And exhale, hands to the heart. So it's a half sun salutation. We'll just do one more like that before moving forward. Inhale. And exhale, fold down towards the ground. Inhale, halfway, belly in. Exhale, fold down to the ground. Inhale, big sweep up and around with the arms. Exhale, hands to the heart, smile on the face. Now we'll move on. Inhale, arms come up overhead. As you exhale, floating down. Inhale, halfway up to lengthen. As you exhale, you're going to step your right leg all the way back. And you're going to come up to a high lunge. Yep, so that back foot is, the toes are forward, the heel is up off the ground. Both hips face forward, the front knee is bent. Good. Belly in, lean back slightly with the torso, but deepen the bend in the front leg. Good, good, good. Inhale the arms up. Full expression of a warrior lunge. Good. All right. And we're going to use a block here. You're going to take the right fingertips down to the block. And I would even suggest the block being on a higher level. So often we come down with the hand to the floor to take this twist. But what that does is it drops the hips and it's maybe makes that a little inaccessible. So you can take the block on a flat level if that's what you need. You could take it on the middle level or you could take it on the highest level. You might play and see how that feels. What we're really going for is continuing to get into this lunge, okay? With the hips heading forward and then twist. But we're not trying to torque that bottom hip under and that top hip up. You're trying to keep the hips level with each other. And then the twist is coming from the belly. So draw the belly in and you want the ribs to twist around and you can take that top arm up to the sky. Or you could drop that back arm behind you and look back towards your fingertips. Good. Keep lunging with the hips. I want you to feel like you're not losing the lunge here. And the block gives you more spaciousness to deepen the lunge and really work the twist. Good. You're going to take your hand down to the other block. You're going to step your back foot in a little closer and you're going to straighten through both legs. Pyramid, forward fold. So both blocks here can be very helpful. Good. A few times, let's straighten out, flatten through the back. So I'm going to flatten through my back, and then I'm going to fold myself over that front leg. I'm going to really feel that in the stretch. And I'll do that a few times. I'm just going to lengthen and fold, lengthen and fold. And then I can hang out and stay there in the fold. If the blocks are too high for you, and depending on your flexibility, you can bring the blocks down to that middle level or again down to the flat level. You want to be in a place where it's adding value. So learning what that is for you in this moment that you're in, what would add support and value for me here? Good, breathe. Okay, now we're going to take those blocks to the outside of that front leg, outside and towards on an angle. So we're going to work a little bit of lengthening through that right side waist. Good, and fold back in. So you're folding back down, but on a twist. Think about your left hip crease pulling up and back. Your belly is still pulling up away from the ground. Both hips reach back behind you, but then twist at the belly and lengthen away from the hips. Awesome, awesome. Bring your blocks back forward. Let's do one more thing here with these. You're going to step both blocks forward of your front foot, like a good foot's distance forward. Show you from here. Good. And you're going to step up and bring that back leg straight out behind you. You can flex that foot. Belly is in. You're trying to get into a nice flat back here. Good. And then you're going to take your left arm up and look towards the left side. So you should feel a very big outer IT band stretch. There's a twist. Nice. Revolved Ardha Chandrasana. Good, good, good. And then you can lower that leg down. Place your hands to the mat. Step back to a plank pose. You can lower the knees, bend the elbows, lower the chest and chin towards the ground. Untuck the toes. Take a little low cobra here. Feel the belly draw in and up. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Neck is open and free. Good. And then from there, folding over, hands and knees, tuck toes, downward facing dog. Good. Breathe in your down dog, enjoy. Good. All right, from your down dog, let's just walk the feet towards your hands. Inhale, halfway up, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold over. And then big inhale all the way up to the top. Hands down to the heart. You can close your eyes for a moment, feel your heartbeat. So we'll repeat the same series on the second side. Hopefully I remember what I did. I don't always. If I don't remember, feel free to tell me. All right, inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, folding down over the legs. Inhale, halfway up, lengthening the spine. As you exhale, this time you're going to step the left leg all the way back, and you're going to come up for the high lunge on the second side. Good. So feeling the stretch in the hip flexor, belly is in, tailbone is long, but don't lose the bend in the front knee. Find your stability here. And then arms reach up to the sky for that high lunge. Feeling brave, confident, capable. I can do this. I am in charge. It is my body. It is my pose. Yeah. But then maybe in the twist, we need a little help. So you're going to bring your hand down, left hand to the block. Again, whatever level feels good that you can continue to deepen the lunge. Primary, that's the first thing. Keep in the lunge and don't drop that left hip down underneath you. Keep that left outer hip lifted and the hips reaching forward. And then open up the right arm to the sky. And that's much harder, right? You feel how that's harder than with the way we usually twist is, oh, okay, I'll just like torque myself around. But the block is giving us guidance, right? You know, Yitro says to Moses, choose 70 elders who are wise people, who can help you have good judgment, who can help you render decisions. And we have in Pirkei Avot teaches us never to render a decision alone and never do it carelessly, that there should always be others you consult, right? Okay, sorry, talking too much. All right, hand down to the other block. Step your back foot in closer. You can bring the blocks up higher. We're doing that pyramid forward fold over that front leg. And you can take those undulations where you straighten up first and then fold over. Do that a few times. Kind of working your way into the opening of the hamstring. And then once you're there, you can stay there. And you might find, oh, after a
a little bit, I can actually lower the blocks and go a little step deeper. This is also where you can modify based on the injuries that are going on in your body, right? So I have a little bit of a hamstring issue on this side. I don't want to go as deep, so I can keep the blocks higher, and that helps me. Okay, you're going to take the blocks to the outside of the right foot. Reach, reach, reach across the midline of the body. That's going to lengthen the whole left side. Try to drop that left shoulder down, drop the chin to the chest. Keep your right big toe pressing strongly into the floor. There should be an arch lifted there. Good. All right, and then you're going to take the blocks in front of your front foot, step all your weight up into that standing leg. Left leg is flexed and strong back behind you, and then you lift your right arm up to the sky and gently twist to look towards the right. But again, trying not to drop your left hip down. You're trying to keep your left hip at the same level as the right hip. And you're trying to take the twist from the core. Pull the belly in, elongate the torso. So like you're being stretched and pulled in 3 different directions here. Forward and back, head to toe, and then up to the sky. Good. Bring that hand back to the ground. What did we do from here? What am I forgetting? Maybe toss the blocks aside. Did we step back into a plank from here? We can. Let's do that. If I forgot something, I apologize. Good. Lower the knees. Lower a reverse push-up down into the ground. Take a moment to just rest here. You can create a little pillow for your head if you want. Just feel your body breathing against the floor. We don't always think of the ground as support, but that's literally like the ground is supporting us all the time, right? And just let yourself feel how good it feels to be fully supported right here. I don't have to hold myself. There's no fear. I'm just being held. Okay. Do you guys have a strap nearby? If you have a strap, that's great. If you don't have a strap, you could use a belt, you could use a tie. If you don't have that, it's okay. Also, you can actually modify by grabbing hold of your pants. So we'll just play. So we're gonna do a little bit of a quad stretching series here. That we'll do first on the belly and then maybe practice it standing. Okay. So you're going to bend your right ankle and you're gonna reach around with the strap. Yeah, if you have one. Okay. So if you don't have a strap, you can just stay here holding the foot and taking the quad stretch. Okay. And that's okay. That's fine. You see how my elbow is up, but my shoulder is sort of pointing down. And that's okay. The other option, if it's available to you, is you spin your thumb up and take the hand to the inside, the big toe side of that. And that opens the shoulder. You see how now my elbow is down and my shoulder's up. A little different. If you have the strap, you're going to take the strap around the base of the foot. Yeah. And you can make the strap nice and long, right? So that you're just kind of holding it up here by your ear. And just take the quad stretch here for a moment. Just feel gentle. You're stretching. You might feel that into the knee. You want to be extra cautious about your knees, not torquing. The extended leg is strong. The belly is lifting into the low back. The pelvis is on the ground. Okay, here's where this gets fun if you want to go a little deeper. You can then lift this elbow up off the ground so that the arm is in the air. Good. And maybe you can take the other hand to it as well. Okay, so you're just there, you're just reaching overhead. What you would do then is kick, flex through the foot and kick the heel and foot back behind you. And now you're in this little bow pose where you're stretching the chest, you're engaging a lot of strength. You might feel the shoulder blades are coming towards each other behind the back. A lot of strong upper back muscle, strong core. This might get your heartbeat really going. And it's a bigger stretch in the quad. Slowly lower yourself back down. Ah, relax it out. How'd that feel? Thumbs up. Do we like that? Yeah. Yeah. So that's going to give us a way bigger opening in the chest and a bigger arch in the spine with a lot more strength into the mid back than we normally would by just what we normally do is we stay here and then we maybe come up on one arm. But that the strap is giving you access to much more strength and flexibility. Okay. Start on the second side. Same thing. So first just reach back and just find your foot and just see your range of motion to start. Good. So just that little quad stretch. And then you're going to take a strap in the left hand, loop it around the left foot. And again, start with the strap super long where you're up here by your head. Okay, and just find the stretch. All right, from here, you can then lift that elbow. So we've done this before, but holding on to the foot, right? You kind of come up a little higher. So feel that your pelvis bone is down and your belly muscles are drawing in. That's protecting the low back. You're not overarching in the low back. All the strength in this bow pose comes from the upper back. Okay, so now you can take the other hand off the ground. Yep. And then you kick back through this heel. There you go. And I'm keeping my extended leg down on the ground because that feels grounded and strong and protects my low back. If you're feeling fine, you can bring that back foot up off the ground, but you really need to stay intentional about that so that you're not straining in the low back. Squeeze behind the heart space. Those shoulder blades draw together. Good. And slowly lower back down. Ah, I hope you broke a sweat with that. Let's get your heart going for sure. Okay. You can either on your back, staying on your belly, you can just flip-flop your legs side to side, or you could come sit up here like this for a minute and just flip-flop the knees side to side. Just to kind of reintegrate after that deep back bend. Good. All right. You're gonna come stand up. Let's do an extended side angle and triangle series using the block and the strap. So we're gonna play with going a little deeper into our warrior series. Okay. All right, so let's do this. Let's start by standing on the right leg. Lift your left foot up. Good, good, good. And then you're gonna pivot and bring that left foot back behind you. You're just balancing here in a warrior 3 variation. Good. If you have those blocks nearby at the front of your mat, you can then lower your hands to the blocks and lift that left leg up as high as you can. A little bit of a standing split. Keep your right kneecap drawing in and up so that there's strength in that right leg. Good. And then you're going to place your left leg back behind you. Okay. I'm going to take my strap nearby and my block nearby. Okay. Let me show you. Yeah. Okay. So from here, you can come into your warrior 2 stance. I don't know how to get myself on the screen so you can see me. All right. Yeah. Front knee is bent. You're in your warrior 2 stance. Good. And let's just reverse the warrior 2 for a moment.
Yeah, just stretching in the side waist. Okay, and now normally we bring our forearm down to the front thigh and we stay there in our extended side angle. What I'm going to have you do today instead is use the block just behind the outside of that foot, okay? And bring the hand down to the block. And you're going to come into your side angle there. Good. And we're going to open, wrap open in the side waist. This arm can come up to the sky. And then it can lengthen overhead. Okay. And then from here, you can straighten through the front leg, bring the block back slightly, fingertips maybe, depending where your flexibility is, coming into a triangle pose. Good. And then rebend the front knee. Come on up. What we're going to do now is take that same sequence, but with the strap. Okay? So let's see how we're going to do this. Okay. Take the strap in your right hand. Yay, you guys are awesome. Okay. You're going to take the forearm to the front thigh and just kind of hang out there with the strap in your hand. Left arm comes up to the sky. You're going to spin the palm behind you and reach it down your back. Okay? And then you're going to slide your right arm between and back between your legs and kind of flip the strap up until you can find a connection there. So you're holding the strap behind your back. And you might be far away, you might be super close, you might not need the strap, you might be able to do this. But what we're trying to do is have enough space on the strap that you can then not be collapsing forward with your chest and shoulder, enough strap length that you can open up that top shoulder. And then once you're there, then you can really get the opening across the chest, the twist in the belly, and maybe then you can inch the strap closer if you want to come deeper. I'm going to take a look. Yeah. So Sam, you see how you're really leaning forward. That's what the strap, oh, do you have a strap? So the common thing that happens when you take a bind is that this shoulder kind of leans forward, right? And then you're sort of hovering over. What we're trying to do with the strap is to get more space and access to open, to spin open with that upper shoulder so that the upper shoulder can reach the sky, but you still have a connection. Yeah. And then you might play with, oh, what happens if I use my right hand to kind of pull down on the strap? Oh, you feel how that opens up the chest on the left side even more and gets that left shoulder to pin back a little bit more. Yeah. Keep pressing into that back foot so that your belly is really engaged. Good. From here, straighten through the front leg, and now you're in a bound triangle pose. So the same thing wants to happen. You want to fold over, but so you might need to loosen up the strap again. That's okay. So get whatever the strap gives you that space that you could still be twisting open in the pose. Good. All right, rebend the front knee. Let go of the strap. Stand up. Ooh, that was hard. Take it out. We have to do the other side though. All right, so keep the strap and block off behind you on the right side. Okay, stands on the left leg. Come up with the right knee. Find your balance. And then you can put a slight bend in the standing leg and pivot through some variation of a warrior 3 balance. Good. Oh yeah, we did do a full standing split from here. So if you have your 2 blocks or fingertips towards the floor and lift that right leg high up to the sky, drop your head. Left leg is strong. Good. Bend that standing leg and step your right leg way back behind you. Keep 1 block behind your left calf. Okay, so let's just come up to the warrior 2 and take a reverse warrior. And an extended warrior, but instead of coming forearm to thigh, we're going to find that block behind the leg. Now you can play, that's on the highest level, and you can see how that feels. Can I get this right shoulder to wrap up and back? Can I pull my belly in long so that it's lifting up out of the pelvic bowl and feel that there's a twist? Can I keep the deep bend in my front knee? If you've got all that and you're on that highest setting, maybe you go a teeny bit deeper and you take the block to that medium setting and see what happens and what changes. As soon as I do that, I notice that my back outer edge of my foot has to ground in and anchor even more, because now more of my body wants to move forward. So I need to resist and press back as well. Good. You can take that right arm up to the sky. You can extend the arm long by the ear. Keep pressing into that back heel. Good. And then you can come up straight with the block. You can straighten the front leg now. We're coming into triangle. So just set up your triangle. Try not to hyperextend and really lock the front knee. Try to keep a little tiny micro bend in that knee. You're still trying to open the top shoulder and lean back. Yeah. Like imagine there's a wall behind you and you're trying to flatten your back against the wall. So you're not only your hip is touching the wall. You're trying to get the hip and the shoulder back. Good, and then you could bring that top arm forward for more stretch. Good, bend the front knee, come stand up. We're gonna do the same thing now, but with the bind with the strap, okay? So we did this on the other side. Let's try it again. So you're gonna come in towards that extended side angle, and your left hand is gonna go underneath and behind the left thigh. That right hand has the strap, and it drops down, and I'm trying to find the strap behind my body. Once I'm there, I'm trying to use that strap to help me twist, 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 open. Yeah. Yes. So great. You guys look amazing. Just like take in how this feels to be this broad and open across the chest, right? We tend not to do that. We slump a lot. We cave in on ourselves a lot. We, kind of do the whole bad posture thing. So this is really, the strap is really helping us here to strengthen those mid and upper back muscles, to elongate through the side waist. Beautiful. From here, you can straighten through that front leg. And now you're in that extended triangle pose with the bind. Woo! I don't know about you, I could really feel this out of that back hip and into the side waist. It feels great, like really decompressing in those low back muscles. Good. And then rebend the front knee. You can let go of the strap, come stand up. Let's heel toe or little jump hops your feet together. Shake it out. Woo. Okay. Let's bring it down to the mat. Let's do a little more practice on the ground. If you have a pillow or bolster nearby, you can use that. If not, you can also use your blocks. I'll show you different variations for that as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come lie on my back. If I have a bolster, I'm bringing it to the left side of me. If I don't have a bolster, I'm gonna just put my blocks to the left side of me and then I'll adjust them like where and how I need them. We're just gonna use that to bring the floor up to us to do an IT band stretch. Okay, so you're gonna take the strap over the base of your right foot and you lift that foot up to the sky, you flex the heel away from you. Now, one problem with using straps is we tend to grip for dear life, and then that is counterproductive. So instead of gripping, maybe you come lower than you need to, but you loop. And now the loops are just holding your hands. It's just like holding you very, very loose and light in the fingertips. So I have this nice connection. My elbows can bend. I'm not like up here squeezing and, so being really mindful that the strap is helping, not harming. Good.
All right, now I'm going to extend my left leg out in front of me. Yeah. And maybe now I draw this in a little closer. So now I'm getting a little more hamstring stretch. Good. All right, we're going to go into an IT band stretch. So that's where you're going to take both of the straps into the left hand and you're drawing the right leg across the midline of the body towards the left side. You're going to start to feel this pretty immediately, like, oh, wow, that's stretching, 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 stretching. And then the reason for the bolster is to create a boundary so that it brings the floor up to you. So you're not going all the way so that you're now torquing in the low back. The bolster brings you up. You can actually, depending on flexibility and what you need, you could do bolster and block. You know, like you can really bring up as high as you need. You're just creating a boundary. If you don't have a bolster, you can do a block tower here. You know, you can actually just kind of stack up your blocks. I stacked one on top of the other, and now I can rest my ankle or my, my calf to that. So I'm getting a big stretch here, but without really compromising my low back, and my shoulders can stay on the ground. And again, I can loop this strap and find a place where it's easy, like where I'm not gripping. There you go. But the fact that you have the strap now, you can also use that to draw, if you want, draw that foot closer up towards the level of your shoulder. The higher you draw that, you're going to feel a difference if it's reaching down towards your heels, which feels good in its own right. It just stretches different parts of this outer hip and the glute. So see what that feels like. Maybe just kind of do a little bit of like flossing through, lowering the leg and raising the leg in that range of motion. Mm-hmm. Good. And we'll come up through the center. And you can adjust and move your props to the other side of you. And we'll do the same thing with the left leg. First, just start with that leg to the sky. You can come back to your breath for ease, right? If your breath is clenching, then you know that you're clenching. So remind yourself to exhale fully, release any tension. Good. And then you can take a little deeper in the stretch if you want to pull the elbows in. I'm actually not going to do that on this side. That's the hamstring that hurts me. Good. And then when you're ready, both parts of the strap come into the right hand and that left leg slowly, slowly, slowly makes its way across. And you figure out what you need with your props. I'm going to rest right here. Once I'm there, I'm going to try to get my shoulders back down. I'm going to feel a big twist in there. And I could feel that this side is tighter than the other side. Right? So just notice what you feel. And then you can play with that, just kind of like lubricating through that joint and just finding your range of motion here. And as you're ready, you can bend the knee, release the strap. For your final Shavasana, I have a few suggestions. Whatever you want to do is totally up to you. One suggestion is if you have a bolster nearby, you can bring that bolster behind your back, bringing it right up to the low back. And you can lean back on it. That actually is a little deep in my low back. I don't love that so much, so I would maybe shift my hips forward a little or maybe keep my knees bent. And that just is going to open the chest. Another option is if you want to take like a reclining Baddha Konasana, you can use the blocks on either the lower level or the middle level just to create some support. So feet are together, but knees are out, and you can rest like that. Yeah. And a third option, if you wanted, would be to do a little bit of a supported bridge. So coming back into a bridge, but sliding the block on its flat level underneath the sacrum. Just letting the hips be slightly elevated with that block. So wherever you are, just take a minute or two to settle. And if you want to come back to your initial reflection on what it is you need some help with, and who in your life you might ask for support and assistance with that. If you're up on a block, you can remove that. If you're in a Baddha Konasana, you can bring your knees back together. Why don't you just take your knees into your chest? And then you can roll to one side. And as you're ready, bring yourself back up. Asa shalom b'mramav hu yasa shalom aleinu vel kol Yisrael vel kol yoshvei tevel b'mru. Amen. May the source of peace bring peace to us in our lives, to all those we love in our community, in our country, in the world, to all beings everywhere. Amen.